Any questions? Oh, it's a good lot of silence, everyone. Any questions? No?
That's right.
Okay, yeah, that's right. Okay, so let's get a quick round robin. Why unconscious moments? Why have we spent a whole day harping on about these little, what could be insignificant things?
That's your entrance into trance.
It's your entrance into trance. Who would agree?
Yeah.
Okay, and realistically, it's just to bypass that. I think my client's in trance because I finished the technique attitude. Does that make sense? I've done that whole thing, step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5, and I did the training, it was great. Then at the end, how do I know it's worked or not? Do I just assume because I've done the technique that you've told me to do that they're in trance? How many of you has actually used the technique and thought, yes, they're there, and then you look at them and they're going, so what's next? I've done it. Very embarrassing, especially when they're paid for it, paid for the session days. Okay? Why else unconscious moments? Why are they so important to us?
It gives you an indication.
Gives you an indication. Okay? The simplest form, it gives you an indication that what you're doing is right. Okay? What would be the point of doing something wrong for a whole hour and just assuming it's working? Do you see the problem with that? Okay? Let me give you an example of 2 types of unconscious moments we can have. And I'll point out exactly the ones we've been using today. And if you're wanting to, in about 6 months' time, there'll be a 1,000-page book on unconscious moments written by me. Okay, so you're welcome to read 1,000 pages about this to try and understand it on just this process alone, which is this. We can either create an unconscious moment, or we can, as I said, wait, which becomes natural. Which ones do you think we've been using today? Who would agree natural?
Yeah.
Were we rushing Shell or Kerry to go into trance?
No.
What were we doing? Would we agree we just waited for it to happen? Who thinks they never have an unconscious moment ever, or has ever had one? Good. Some of you are having one right now as I talk. Okay. We all have them. They are natural, and that is the essence of conversational hypnosis. It is a natural approach. It's a natural chit chat, if you will, that utilises natural unconscious moments. So how would we create an unconscious moment? Techniques. Make sense? So think about this. If you're patient enough to wait for them, plus you also know techniques, i.e. techniques that are taught in the next 3-day course, about how to create moments, how could you fail? If you think about what an unconscious moment is, it's a clue that trance is beginning or they're inside of it. Does that make sense? Let me give you the structure of how therapy is normally formed, how you know the whole hypnosis training. We're taught techniques to put people into trance. Okay? Most of the time we're not taught what to look for or what to do with them. We're just taught, do this technique, like a phobia buster, or do a stop smoking routine, or an anxiety killer, if that was a technique. Do this, and then that should help our clients. Who's been to something like that before? I've done it as well. What we're doing with this is we're doing things backwards. Okay? We're waiting for trance to occur, and then we're doing our techniques. Does that make sense? Can you see that backwards? Either techniques can create unconscious moments, we can do things backwards, wait for them. You've got to be very patient, and then use techniques to what? Expand the moment. Does that make sense? To wait, what things would you have to adopt in your personality to wait for an unconscious moment to happen?
Self-restraint.
Self-restraint. Who here has been in a situation with a client you think, oh, I really want to say something? Who here has found their clients in an unconscious moment? It's the most common. It's complete silence, and you feel awkward. Does anyone have that? Okay, get used to it. And you'll be thinking, oh my God, this silence is awkward. What am I supposed to do? Sometimes talking too much is too much. Sometimes not talking enough is not enough. Every time you talk, you interrupt an unconscious moment. That's for you as well. When you talk, you interrupt your own unconscious moment. When you talk to a client, you interrupt their unconscious moment. So how do we deal with it in this case?
Ask them to breathe.
Yeah, ask them to breathe. We're still talking at that point. Mhm. So what do we need to do? How do we know when to talk enough or not to talk at all?
They cue us.
They cue us. If you see processing starting to begin by the question you give them, the best thing to do is be quiet, wait for the process to finish. When they come out of the unconscious moment, and they will, you've got to get past the idea to think that once I put them into trance, they'll stay in it. No. They'll come in and out, in and out, in and out. The conscious mind will always be present in some form. One unconscious moment could go for 30 seconds, the next one could go for a whole hour, the next one could go for 10 seconds. They're fleeting as quickly as they are staying. What we're doing, hopefully to express this, is how many creative ways do you know to put a client back into trance? That is my only goal up here. Because if I keep going down the same road and using the same technique to get them into trance, I become obvious at that point. If each time they come out of trance, I tell a story, they go back into it, I think, yes, I've done it once. Come back out, start another story. Come back out, another story. Further on down the track, they'll get used to what I'm doing, they'll catch me in. So I've got to be very creative, and that's only when we're working with natural unconscious moments. What do you think's got more power, creation or natural? Who would agree natural? I would 100% agree with you. Why would that be?
Because it comes from them.
It comes from your client. We're not doing anything foreign. I'm not doing a timeline. I'm not doing a parts integration. I'm not doing even an Arizonian approach. I'm just waiting patiently because I know whoever's talking to me is going to have an unconscious moment and I'm going to catch it. Does that make sense? We need a game in that Pokemon game that's coming out on the phone. We need to do that for unconscious moments. I'll put that in the business plan. Let me give you this. What are some things we can do creatively to force out an unconscious moment? This will get you thinking. There's 3 things we can do to force an unconscious moment out. Not to create one, but to force a natural out. Yes?
When people think, so by asking someone to think about something, so asking them a question.
Would that be creating it?
Not necessarily, because if you wait long enough with their answer, or get them to give you an extended answer,
Yep.
then one may pop up.
Yep, starting to sound like me. You spend way too much time on these courses.
I need out.
Yes. Absolutely. That's 100% correct. I'm going to give you 3 steps that we're going to adopt that you can apply to not just what you learned today, everything you do. Psychology, psychiatry, interactions, influence, sales. We even talked about it in the sales training. This has nothing to do with catching ghosts. Does anyone like ghost hunters shows and stuff like that? Yeah, electronic voice phenomena, maybe it's just me. E.V.P. Okay? Eye contact. Voice. And the best one, pausing. These will force out natural unconscious moments. Okay? This one especially. Why? There's no speaking. Who here has ever been in a social gathering and you're meeting people for the first time and you might start talking to someone and they're really hard to talk to, really awkward conversations like, oh, so what do you do? I'm a mechanic. What do you do? I'm a butcher. Do you like football? No. I'm going to go over here now. Who's talked to those people before? What happens in that awkward pause? That's what I'm interested in. What's happening at that point? Who finds it?
Wondering.
Discomfort. Wondering, what am I supposed to say? Why won't this person talk to me? So by pausing, and we did this before with Shell, I'm letting her anticipate what's going to occur. Does that make sense? I think we'll say to Shell something like, and there's one question I'm about to ask you. That's all I said. I didn't tell her the question, but I could see as I said that, her attention focused more on me while she's waiting. Do you think that increases the unconscious moment? Hell yeah, it does. Why? Because I'm getting more attention. So by pausing, and even extending your pauses, you create an unconscious moment. Why? No one likes to be in pauses, no one likes to be in silence. And the great thing about pausing, two things will happen. These are just side notes for us to play with. Either your client will fill in the silence because they're feeling awkward, and it's either going to come out as asking you a question, like, what do you want me to do now? Or the real answer's going to come out. Why would more unconscious answers come out during that pausing stage? Ideas? What do you think happens to the conscious mind when we pause for extended periods of time?
It tells it that something important is happening in our unconscious mind because that's its cue to be quiet.
Mhm.
Like when we sleep or drive or just
Absolutely.
thought.
Yep. Absolutely. What else happens? What happens to the conscious mind when we pause for long periods? Using our eye contact with a little bit of a smile on our face, hypnotic personality comes out.
It's busy trying to work out what's going to happen next.
Thank you. Conscious mind gets busy thinking, what are you doing? Talk. What am I supposed to do? What's going on here? This is not right. This gets so confused that it goes, screw this.